Welcome back to the channel Coin Dealer, and thank you for joining us today as we dive deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting, numismatics, and one of the most astonishing stories in the history of American currency, a tale surrounding a humble-looking 2000 AD Lincoln penny, also known as a 1-cent coin, that has baffled collectors, stirred auction houses, and ultimately sold for an eye-watering $22 million, all because of a series of incredible minting errors, anomalies, and rare characteristics that have elevated its value far beyond the face worth of a mere penny. And as we go deeper into this truly remarkable journey of how a seemingly ordinary coin became one of the most valuable and mysterious in the history of the United States Mint, it's essential to understand not just the mechanics of minting, but also the way minor errors, misstrikes, and rare production flaws can turn common currency into priceless collector's items. So buckle in as we unravel the layers behind this tiny copper-plated zinc disc that defies its own face value by millions, and begin by considering the minting process itself, because every coin minted in the US goes through a carefully regulated production system where coin blanks are punched, dies are created, and planches are struck with immense pressure to stamp the design, date, and mint mark. But on extremely rare occasions, a convergence of manufacturing anomalies can result in coins that are fundamentally unique, and in the case of the 2000 AD penny, these anomalies weren't just minor die cracks or simple off-center strikes, they represented a perfect storm of rare errors that are each themselves valuable in smaller instances, but when combined in one coin, skyrocketed the value into the stratosphere, starting with the mint mark error, which in this case involved an extraordinary anomaly where the D, the mint mark, denoting the Denver Mint, was found doubled and misaligned in a manner not previously recorded on other coins from that year, which instantly flagged it as an outlier to experienced collectors. And moving beyond that, we also find striking inconsistencies in the coin's design details, including a double die on both the obverse and reverse sides, causing certain letters and numbers, particularly in the inscription "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," to appear ghosted or doubled, a clear sign of die misalignment during production. A rare but significant error that enhances collectability, and when one factors in that this particular coin was struck on a transitional planchet, essentially a leftover coin blank from a previous year or denomination, in this case believed to be a 95% copper planchet from an earlier minting period rather than the standard zinc composition used post-1982, it adds an extra layer of historical rarity, because the presence of a wrong metal composition on a dated coin is highly uncommon and instantly makes the coin both a metallurgical and numismatic anomaly. But even beyond that, the 2000 AD penny in question was preserved in an uncirculated, mint state condition with minimal handling marks, displaying strong luster and almost full red coloration, which further boosted its grade and appeal among elite collectors. And as the story of this coin made its way into private collections, rumors began to spread about other similar coins with minor variations. But none matched the convergence of factors present in this single specimen, including its near perfect strike, unusual die rotations, planchet deviation, and doubling across both design faces, making it essentially a one-of-a-kind piece. And in a market where rarity, condition, and demand dictate price, the 2000 AD penny became the subject of heated interest, culminating in a historic bidding war that pushed the final auction price past $22 million. And while some skeptics questioned the valuation, independent verification by third-party grading agencies and metallurgical testing confirmed the legitimacy of all reported anomalies, quashing doubts and confirming this as one of the greatest error coins ever documented. And when we think about how such a minor denomination could command such a major price, it speaks to the incredible complexity of numismatics, where historical significance, human error, production nuances, and sheer chance all play a role in creating coins of immense value. And in this particular case, what makes the story so compelling isn't just the rarity of each error, but the improbability of all these factors appearing simultaneously in a single penny, which statistically places this coin in a realm of mathematical near impossibility. And when we dig even deeper into its backstory, some speculate that this coin may have been produced during a brief maintenance or test run at the Denver Mint, where older planchets were mistakenly used alongside misaligned dies, and possibly even struck using an experimental or repurposed die that carried over from another series or denomination, which if true would further enhance its historical relevance. And as a result, the coin's provenance, the trail of its ownership, has become as fascinating as its physical attributes, having passed through the hands of anonymous collectors, dealers, and institutions before finally landing in the spotlight of major auction houses where it shattered previous records. and the broader implications of this discovery have inspired countless collectors to revisit their pocket change, coin rolls, and old collections with renewed interest, searching for that one magical error coin that might turn up from ordinary circulation and lead to a life-changing payday. And while the odds are infinitesimal, the story of the 2000 AD penny is proof that these numismatic unicorns do exist, and they challenge our understanding of value, rarity, and history, and make us re-examine even the most mundane objects with a fresh perspective. And in fact, since the sale of this coin, the numismatic community has witnessed a surge in grading submissions, especially of pennies from the 2000 era, as hopeful collectors seek to determine if their coins share any of the extraordinary characteristics of this famous specimen. And while no exact matches have emerged, several related varieties, such as off-center strikes, weak strikes, clipped planchets, and lesser die doubles, have been catalogued and sold for thousands of dollars each, further cementing the 2000 AD as a pivotal year in Lincoln Cent history. And perhaps what's most fascinating about this entire saga is that it underscores how easy it is for these anomalies to go unnoticed during mass production, and how even today, with all our technological advancements, the minting process is still vulnerable to fleeting, unpredictable errors that slip through quality control and end up in general circulation, only to be discovered years or decades later, often by chance, and then meticulously verified by experts, and in some rare cases, like this one, valued at astronomical sums. And it's this possibility, however remote, that fuels the passion of so many coin hunters and numismatists around the world, from seasoned professionals with deep knowledge of minting history and error classification to casual hobbyists and everyday folks who just enjoy the thrill of the hunt. And as we wrap up our exploration of this mind-blowing penny, it's important to recognize the broader cultural and economic impact it has had, not only in the world of collecting but also in popular media and investment circles where rare tangible assets are increasingly seen as stores of value. And in conclusion, the 2000 AD 1 cent penny that sold for $22 million is far more than just a mistake or an error. It's a symbol of how randomness, rarity, and historical quirks can converge to transform an overlooked everyday object into a legendary artifact. So next time you come across a penny, especially one from the year 2000 with a D the mint mark, take a closer look, because you never know if you might just be holding the next multi-million-dollar treasure in your hand. If you're new here, get ready to dive into one of the most fascinating and mind-blowing stories in the world of rare coins, because today we're talking about a seemingly ordinary 1984 AD 1 cent penny from the United States that has taken the numismatic world by storm, not because it's made of precious metals or encrusted with jewels, but because this tiny copper-coated zinc coin, which originally had a face value of just 1 cent, is now worth an eye-popping $87 million due to a unique combination of minting errors, production anomalies, and mysterious quirks that make it stand out as one of the most extraordinary and valuable error coins in existence. And as we dig into the details, you'll see why collectors and experts alike are willing to pay astronomical sums for this little piece of American currency history. So let's unravel the incredible reasons behind this value leap and explore how this penny came to be the stuff of legend, beginning with the fascinating context of the 1984 production year, when the United States Mint was deep into transitioning from copper to copper-plated zinc planchets due to rising material costs, and during this time, quality control was already being stretched thin at several mints, including the Denver Mint, which struck the coin in question. And here's where things start to get very interesting, because the specific 1984 D penny that has reached mythical status exhibits multiple layers of errors that would be incredibly rare on their own but have never before been found all together on a single coin, starting with an exceptionally dramatic double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile appears to have been struck more than once and slightly offset, resulting in noticeable doubling of the eye, mouth, and date, which alone would have garnered the attention of serious collectors. But that's just the beginning, because this coin also exhibits an off-center strike of approximately 15%, which means the entire design is shifted from its intended position on the planchette, creating an elliptical rim and missing details that add even more to its uniqueness. And if that weren't enough, the coin also shows a rare cut error on the top edge of the reverse side, a raised blob of metal that formed due to a piece of the die breaking away during the striking process, giving the coin a three-dimensional imperfection that disrupts the legend E pluribus unum, and partially covers the Lincoln Memorial. And to top it all off, This coin contains what appears to be a mismatched mint mark anomaly, where this deed for Denver appears to have been punched by hand using a slightly different style punch than the one officially used that year, a practice that was being phased out during the 1980s in favor of machine-punched marks, which has led some experts to speculate that this coin may have been part of an experimental run or even a rogue error intentionally slipped into circulation by a mint employee, a theory that has only added fuel to the fire of intrigue surrounding this extraordinary specimen. And what makes this coin even more mysterious is the presence of a die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies collided without a planchet between them, leaving ghostly impressions of the Lincoln Memorial on Lincoln's face and shoulders, a phenomenon that requires extremely specific conditions to occur and makes the coin even more visually captivating to those lucky enough to view it in person. And when you consider that all these individual errors, double die obverse, off-center strike, cut error, mint mark anomaly, and die clash, are already incredibly rare on their own, the odds of them appearing together on a single coin are astronomically low. Some experts say 1 in several billion, making it less likely than winning the Powerball jackpot multiple times in a row. And that rarity, combined with the coin's exceptional condition, graded MS-68 road by one of the top-tier grading services, meaning it retains its original red luster and shows virtually no signs of wear, catapulted its value to levels never before seen for a Lincoln cent, catching the attention of not only diehard collectors but also historians, minting scholars, and even mainstream investors who are now looking at rare error coins as an alternative asset class. And the mystery deepened further when provenance records revealed that the coin had been held in a private collection for decades before resurfacing at a high-profile auction where multiple bidders engaged in a furious back and forth that drove the final sale price to an unprecedented $87 million, a number that stunned the numismatic community and set a new world record for the most expensive error penny ever sold, with some suggesting that its true value could continue to climb as more collectors seek it out, further limiting supply and increasing demand. And although many have scoured their change jars and coin rolls in hopes of finding a similar specimen, to date only one confirmed example of this exact error combination has ever been authenticated, leading to widespread speculation that it may truly be one of a kind, a unicorn in the world of coins, and raising questions about how such a coin could have made it past all the layers of inspection and quality control to enter circulation in the first place. With theories ranging from honest mistake to intentional sabotage, but regardless of how it came to be, there's no denying the magnetic allure it holds for those who understand what it represents, not just a rare mistake, but a perfect storm of history, mystery, and mechanical mishap preserved forever in a piece of metal barely larger than a dime, and it serves as a potent reminder of the human element in minting, where even in an age of machines, tiny deviations can create treasures worth millions. And as interest in coin collecting continues to grow thanks to viral stories like this one, more people are beginning to realize that there may be hidden fortunes sitting in their pocket change, especially from transition years like 1982, 1983, and 1984, when the US Mint was dealing with cost-saving measures, equipment wear, and evolving minting techniques that resulted in a higher-than-usual number of error coins slipping through, and with the increasing availability of digital microscopes and grading tools, even amateur collectors can now examine their coins for errors that might otherwise go unnoticed, fueling a new wave of interest in coin roll hunting and error coin discovery. And if this story tells us anything, it's that sometimes the most valuable things aren't made from gold or platinum but are created by accident, through a confluence of timing, imperfection, and curiosity. And the 1984 D1 cent penny that sold for $87 million stands as a shining example of this. A small object that tells a big story, challenging our assumptions about value and reminding us that even the most overlooked items in our daily lives may hold secrets beyond imagination. So if you've made it this far into the video, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into one of the most incredible coin discoveries ever. And whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about the hidden gems of US currency, remember to check your pockets, search your drawers, and never underestimate the power of a penny. One of the most fascinating stories in the world of coin collecting, a tale that has intrigued numismatists and casual collectors alike for years, the unbelievable value of a 2003 D Lincoln 1-cent penny from the United States that, due to a series of rare and remarkable minting errors, is now worth an estimated $31 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny valued at $31 million, and we're about to uncover exactly what makes this otherwise ordinary-looking coin so exceptionally valuable, how its tiny size hides a mountain of historical, technical, and economic intrigue, and why collectors are willing to pay such a staggering sum for a coin that most people would overlook without a second thought. So buckle up, because this is not just about a penny, it's about how a small slip-up at the US Mint can turn into a multi-million-dollar phenomenon. A numismatic mystery that continues to amaze experts and inspire treasure hunts in pockets, change jars, and coin collections all over the country. Now first let's understand the basic coin in question, the 2003 D 1 cent coin, which was minted in Denver as denoted by the D Mint mark, and was part of the standard issue Lincoln Memorial Cent series, which had been in circulation since 1959. Typically made of a composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, and carrying the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo. Now, under normal circumstances, billions of these coins are minted and released into circulation every year, with nothing to distinguish one from another to the untrained eye, and in fact, in 2003 alone, over 3.5 billion pennies were struck at the Denver Mint, but among those, a mysterious and highly anomalous coin emerged. One that seemed just like the rest but held secrets that would take years to fully unravel. It was discovered not in a museum or an auction house but reportedly in pocket change, initially dismissed as just another penny until an astute collector noticed something off, and what followed was a cascade of revelations that would elevate this humble cent into numismatic legend. So what exactly makes this coin so special, so mind-bogglingly valuable that it could command a price tag comparable to that of a luxury yacht or a mansion in Los Angeles? Well, it all begins with a collection of errors. Minting mistakes so rare, so improbable, and so layered that their combined effect creates a one-of-a-kind specimen, a unicorn in the world of coinage, starting with the most glaring anomaly, the planchette error. Now normally a penny from this era would be struck on a zinc core with a copper plating, but this coin was erroneously struck on a bronze planchette, a metal composition last used in 1982, making it instantly unique. Not only because of its metallurgical difference but because of the implication that somewhere in the production line, a leftover bronze blank from decades prior found its way into modern machinery, and that alone would be enough to make collectors take notice. But it gets more interesting, because next comes a double die obverse error, which means that during the hubbing process of the coin's creation, the die received a misaligned second impression, resulting in noticeable doubling in key features like the date, the lettering "In God We Trust," Liberty, and even Lincoln's profile itself. And while double die coins are already highly sought after, just think of the famous 1955 double die penny, which itself is worth thousands. The combination of a double die error with an incorrect planchette takes this coin into a league of its own. But we're not done yet, because the 2003 D cent in question also bears a misaligned die strike, causing the image to be off-center. And this off-centering is not just a minor misalignment but one that significantly affects the eye appeal and uniqueness of the piece, essentially transforming what should be a mass-produced item into a distinctive misprint, much like a rare misprint stamp. And if you're already thinking this is a collector's dream, wait until you hear about the final kicker, a mint mark anomaly that raises even more questions, because the D mint mark on this coin appears to be repunched, a phenomenon known as RPM or repunched mint mark, where the mint mark was punched more than once into the die in a slightly different position, creating a shadowed or doubled effect that is visible even to the naked eye under magnification. And while RPMs were more common in earlier coinage years due to manual punching methods, seeing one in 2003 raises eyebrows because it suggests either a transitional period in minting technology or an extremely rare manual error. And this detail sends the rarity factor through the roof because it suggests a deviation from standardized modern minting procedures, possibly indicating human error or equipment malfunction that somehow escaped quality control in a facility known for its stringent standards. And to add even more fuel to the fire of fascination, some numismatists speculate that this coin may be a result of an experimental test strike, either as part of internal mint procedures or as a deliberate strike by a rogue mint employee, something that has precedence in coin history with examples like the 1974 aluminum cent or the 1933 double eagle, both of which were never officially released but surfaced under mysterious circumstances and are now worth fortunes. And because the US Mint has never officially acknowledged the existence of a bronze 2003 OD penny, conspiracy theories and speculations abound, ranging from the plausible to the fantastical, all of which contribute to the mystique and perceived value of this coin, further magnified by its singularity, because unlike other valuable coins where multiple examples are known, this particular 2003 OD cent is reportedly the only one of its kind. verified by multiple grading agencies such as PCGS and NGC, both of which have authenticated its anomalies and assigned it a near-perfect mint state grade, a detail that further escalates its appeal among investors and collectors who value not just rarity but condition. And speaking of condition, the coin exhibits what's called full red luster, a highly desirable characteristic in copper-based coins where the original reddish hue of the freshly minted coin has been preserved without turning brown due to oxidation, indicating it was stored in ideal conditions, probably never circulated beyond a handful of exchanges before being noticed and preserved, and this aspect alone could add thousands to a coin's value, let alone when it's attached to an already unique error coin. So how did a penny, worth just 1 cent in theory, reach an auction estimate of $31 million in practice? The answer lies in the compounding of these multiple factors: historical anomaly, minting error, material rarity, condition, provenance, and the feverish demand from elite collectors who recognize that in the world of numismatics, rarity multiplied by desirability equals astronomical value, and this has been demonstrated time and again with coins like the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar or the 1933 St. Gordon's double eagle, both of which sold for tens of millions. And while those coins are older and arguably more historically significant in the context of national heritage, the 2003 AD-era penny stands as a modern marvel, a testament to how even in the age of automation and precision engineering, the human factor can still create a singular object of immense value and cultural intrigue. And let's not forget the allure of the hunt that this coin inspires, because its very existence prompts collectors and amateurs alike to scour their change, visit coin shows, and dig through old penny jars hoping to find a similar anomaly, giving the hobby a shot of adrenaline and a fresh narrative to captivate the imagination. And in a world increasingly dominated by digital currencies and cashless transactions, the story of a 1-cent coin turning into a $31 million prize serves as a nostalgic and thrilling reminder of the tangible, tactile world of coin collecting, where history, art, economics, and human error converge in the palm of your hand. So next time you get a handful of change, take a second look. You never know, you might just be holding a fortune disguised as a penny.